is sure. She is sure. She is strong. She is strong. She is true. She is true. She is brave. She is brave. She is bold. She is bold. She is you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Word of Mom Radio here on the Word of Mom Media Network. I'm your host, Dori DeCarlo, and you know we are here week after week, show after show, breaking those myths that mompreneurs and businesswomen, especially those of us building our businesses from home, that we're just dabbling in between bake sales and getting our nails done, or not. We are smart, we are savvy, and we are sharing the wisdom of women in business and in life. And I'm really honored to be bringing today's guest in because this is an incredibly important topic. Fertility Alchemist, Dr. Aumatma Simmons, decodes reproductive roadblocks where others fail. A top-ranked podcast host, double award-winning naturopathic doctor, and media-acclaimed expert, she has helped hundreds conceive when traditional paths fell short. Part scientist, part fertility sherpa, turning fertility struggles into success stories. And again, this is just such an important topic. I'm so honored to have you here. So Dr. Aumatma, welcome to Word of Mom Radio.
Thank you for having me, Dori. It's great to be here.
It is my pleasure. And I would love for you to take us on your journey that led you through naturopathic medicine to becoming a fertility alchemist.
Yeah. So I started with really honestly, like the journey started when I was like 4 years old, and my parents were convinced that I was going to be a doctor, right? And that is one of three things that I had the option to be. It's doctor, engineer, or lawyer. And for me, they had already pre-selected doctor. So I the funny part of that story, though, is that I never went to the doctor's office because my father thought he was a doctor. He was not, but he wanted to be. And he self-studied a lot of Ayurvedic medicine, homeopathy. So every time we got sick, he would give us home remedies. And that was the start. I went to undergrad. I hated all of it. I was like, I don't understand how we can disconnect the body and the mind and the spirit. So like triple majored in religious studies, science, biology, and psychology. And um, at the end of that, I was like, I can't imagine going to medical school. And all of my professors were like, you're a hippie, just move to California. And eventually I did move to California, but not then. And a month before graduating from undergrad, I got a pamphlet from a naturopathic medical school, and the cover said body, mind, spirit. And like I barely even opened the pamphlet because I was like, body, mind, spirit, that's what I've been saying for so long. I was like, look, it's a medical school. And instantly I was like, this is it. This is what I'm doing with my life. And my parents were like, no, we meant to be a real doctor, not this. And I was like, what do you mean? This is what you've given me as medicine my entire life. Like, now you think this is not real medicine? I'm very confused. So I had already made the decision. No one was going to talk me out of it. So went to medical school, graduated, was practicing for about 5 years with kind of a general medicine type of practice, just supporting people with whatever. And um, and found myself married to this man who wanted to have babies. And literally every time he talked about it, my uterus was screaming, no. And I was like, oh boy, um, I might have married the wrong person, or maybe I don't want children. So I went into this kind of tailspin of trying to figure out what I was doing because if I wanted to have children, what I had learned in medical school was that our fertility drops off of a cliff at 35. And that was uh, essentially what was running in the back of my head was I'm going to run out of time. Like if I want a child but not with him, I'm going to run out of time. I don't see how it's possible. Um, so I was very grateful to my like research oriented brain that was like, is this true? Like I was just asking the question, is this actually true? Because if it is, then I'm screwed. And what I found was that the idea that our fertility even drops off of a cliff comes from 1800s in France, where women were not bringing their children in to get baptized in churches, and they have records of that. So the conclusion that they had made was, oh, fertility drops off a cliff because women don't bring their children in to get baptized. So me being who I am was like, something sounds funny about that. Like, what was life expectancy for women in the 1800s in France? And the life expectancy is 32.8. So women were literally dying. So many of them were dying in childbirth, uh, in their early 30s. So of course they weren't bringing their children in to get baptized. So this idea, as soon as I found that, I was like, okay, well, so then if that's not true, what is true? And I just kind of dove into the fertility world, decided I could figure this out and could like preserve my fertility till I was ready with the right person, had a divorce, went into like back into the dating world and found the person, eventually had a child. But all of that was initiated by this like body wisdom, is what I call it now, that was guiding me and was very clear that it was not a good decision to have a child with this person. And like every day I look at my kid and I'm like, oh my God, thank God I didn't have a child with that person. Like, I just feel so blessed that I made the decision that I made. And it was a tough one at the time. It's not culturally acceptable to have a divorce and go through all of that. But here we are. Like, did it anyway.
It's
Uh,
amazing to me that they would have statistics from the 1800s.
yeah, isn't
It's,
that crazy?
yes, it really is. It
Um,
really is. And it just goes to show, in my humble opinion, how unaware most doctors are about what
yeah.
goes on in a woman's body.
Yeah, it's so
It's
true.
amazing. It
It's
really
so
is
true.
amazing.
And we are often not questioning the belief systems that we
Mhm.
have, right? And unfortunately, when those belief systems were created very early or years and decades ago, uh, I think that it does us a disservice because things are evolving and things are
Mhm.
changing always. So we're basing something on something that wasn't even research and scientific to begin with, but then to add to it, we're not questioning it. And there are some small studies that I've seen that has questioned this belief, and what they've actually found is that between the age groups of 25 to 29 versus 35 to 39, there is a 3% drop in fertility. So a 3% is very different from a cliff.
Yes, it is.
Uh,
Yes, it is.
uh, I mean, yes, there's a drop, but it's not as severe as we make it sound. And because like the anxiety, the stress that comes out of having been told that this is your reality, your body is going to start failing you at 35. Because we're told that again and again, I think that we really go into panic mode. It's essentially what I felt when I was with my ex-husband and going through the questions of what do I do? And I was panicking. I was like, what am I going to do? Because as soon as I got clear that I do want a child, I was like, well, crap. Like that's a bummer. And it was really like such a relief to realize that what I had learned was not the actual truth. And if I could let that belief system go, then the pressure also went away, right? Like the pressure of, oh my God, I'm going to run out of time. I'll never find someone. And so many women are operating with that because we have bought into this belief system. So I really do feel like if we can change, if we can question the belief systems that are not true,
Mhm.
and if we can say, well, if that not that, then what? What is truth? And that truth can vary from person to person, right? You might have a 35-year-old that is actually going to have problems because of genetics or whatever. She was given less eggs than her counterparts at 35, whatever it is. Like from person to person, there is a variable. But in general, we can't say that an entire population is going to have a drop of anything. It's just not true. So, um, as soon as we start questioning these beliefs that we've been given, then we can get to like, okay, what's true for me and how do I figure that out? And if this is not true, then what do I need to get the answers that I need to make the decisions that I want to make?
Yeah.
Without the stress, without the pressure, without the fear of like, oh my God, do this, if I don't do this XYZ thing, I'm going to be not having the life that I envisioned for myself.
You mentioned stress. What kind of role does that play in fertility and how do we manage it?
Um, Stress plays quite a big role. It is, there's a lot of research on stress actually, and they've studied all different types of stress. And what we have found over and over again is that stress just screws with the entire endocrine system. So it's from top to bottom, every endocrine gland and the multiples of hormones that these glands make are all impacted by stress. But when you hear that, most people say, "Well, what do I do? I can't go live in a bubble." And that's often the response that I've had as well, because I think that a lot of women fall into this like high achieving, I want to be successful, I have dreams, I want to do things. Yeah, yes, I want a family, but I also want all of these other things. And for me, it was really important to figure out that we are not going to get rid of stress, right? Like stress is always going to be part of our reality. But there are a few things that stress really uh, can be shifted into that is different. So, one is being able to understand that our bodies do not run on a 24-hour clock. So a lot of that stress and pressure is coming from I'm not doing enough. I'm not knocking the things off of my to-do list. And we treat ourselves as the men, our male counterparts who do run on a 24-hour clock. So for women, it is super important to realize that we have a 28-day clock, not a 24-hour clock. And when we shift into a 28-day clock, things get very different. The idea of pressure becomes different because for me, I know that while I'm menstruating is the worst time to have a very long to-do list and work 14-hour days and feel like, oh my God, I'm always behind, right? And if I put that kind of pressure on myself during that time period, then I will have a very horrible experience of life, and that is stressful. But if I shift my relationship with that and say, hey, this is actually the time of my cycle where I'm supposed to be getting more internal and listening to my intuition and slowing down and rejuvenating, then my relationship becomes very different because I know that the 10 days after my menstrual cycle, I'm going to be a freaking badass, right? Like if I conserve my energy during the time that I'm menstruating, I am going to be an absolute badass when my hormones shift and I go into the estrogenic period. So if we can understand that our bodies are shifting in every phase of our cycle, and if we actually live in sync with that, the stress goes away because now you're not putting the type of pressure that you have all of these things to do. I have a lot of things to do. I run three businesses. So I am very much a quote unquote busy person. But what's hilarious is my one of my co-founders in one of my businesses is a man, and he's like, "Hey," he just said this last week. He's like, "Hey, so when is that time where you like are gonna like knock everything off the list and magically like send me 800 things to review?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's coming." And like he knows that there are times of the month where I'm going to be super productive. And then there are going to be other times of the month where we're better off like letting me not do those things, but instead focus on the big picture, the vision, the things that I really need to be doing during that phase of my cycle. So he doesn't know exactly what's happening with all the hormones, but he knows that there's a shift, right? And he's like, just let me know like when we can expect that. And I'm like, yep, I got you. It's on my list. I will get to it, but it's not the type of list that is like, I have to do this today. It's the type of list that this is like over the next month, I will make it happen. I just need to find the right time to do it. And it's a different mindset, but if we can have that experience, a lot of the stress goes away. And people always look at me like, you look so chill. How do you run three businesses? And I'm like, what? It's easy. It's like, it's not stressful anymore, but it's taken a long time to get there. The second is realizing that our our bodies have mechanisms to neutralize stress hormones. So we think about stress as like either it's happening or it's not. I'm either stressed or I'm not. But the reality is, stress is actually a way that our body is giving feedback and saying, hey, I need more of this. I need less of this. I need this to happen right now. And if we understand that we can actually neutralize those hormones in a way that's going to be more supportive, and I call this stress resilience, the ability to have your body shift into a different way of being, simply by optimizing what hormones are being released. And one of my favorites is, especially for women, the absolute essential hormone is oxytocin. And there are several things that oxytocin does. One is it gives us a sense of safety, and that safety is crucial for fertility. Safety is when we're not in survival mode. So if stress is that like survive, fight or flight, safety is the exact opposite. And that signal helps us feel like we can reproduce, and reproduction becomes easy in that space. So, oxytocin is one of those hormones that neutralizes cortisol and shifts us into this safe space where it's better, easier, and more beneficial or optimal to reproduce. So, the cool thing about our bodies is that we as women release oxytocin in circles of women. So when we think about uh back in the day when women used to commune and like have these groups of women, that is when our oxytocin is being released the most. So if we can, let's say we have a stressful period, but then plan like, oh, I'm going to spend time connecting with my circle of women, then that is going to help to neutralize some of that stress. We can also release oxytocin by, um, I think the research says like 10 minutes of a deep conversation followed by a few minutes of deep eye gazing. And you could do that with your partner. You can do that with a friend. Cuddling will also release oxytocin. You could do that with a child or a pet or your husband, whatever. There are so many ways to stimulate the production of this on a regular basis that if we could keep that hormone as something that we do like focus on, then we don't have to focus so much on, oh my God, I'm so stressed. But really like you're finding ways to balance and become more resilient to that stress. So I think that's the other main thing that I think about when it comes to stress.
How do you balance for you the science of fertility, and then you have those emotional and the psychological aspects of the journey that those people are going through?
Yeah. So you For me, I think I don't think of it as separate. I feel like our emotions are driving our hormones and our hormones are driving our emotions, and that feedback loop is constantly happening. So for me, it's really awareness and knowing what's happening. So that awareness piece is understanding that, for example, let's say someone has a gut inflammation. That is, I would say for 80% of our population, that's a problem. Uh, a lot of fertility issues are coming out of gut inflammation. So if we could address gut inflammation, we know that we're going to help support fertility. But the gut inflammation is potentially in place for someone because she had a trauma that she was dealing with, and she was kind of like putting it on the back burner. And she would be like, oh yeah, like that was traumatic, but like it's done. I don't need to think about it anymore. But her body is still holding that message. So her body is in a traumatized state, even though she is like, oh, I don't need to think about this. This is not a thing anymore. Unfortunately, her gut inflammation is the response of her trauma that's stored in her gut. So for us, like when we think about healing, it needs to happen on all the levels. And we want to find the root cause of whatever it is that's happening. And everyone's going to have a different root cause. We don't know what the story is behind why they have this gut inflammation. Or they might just have microbes. They took a bunch of antibiotics and they have the wrong microbiome, and that's what's causing the inflammation. So it could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be spiritual. But if you have a provider that can only see one way, that's all they're going to see. If you have a provider that is working with you trying to uncover all the levels, then you can say, oh, I found this trauma that I didn't realize I even had. Um, and that's going to move them forward on their fertility journey. So I had, there was a 36-year-old woman who came in with her husband, and he was upset that they hadn't had a child yet. They had been married for 10 years. And he was like, I would have had a basketball team by now. Like, that's how many children he wanted to have. And she came in and she's like, I'm not sure I even want to have one child. I'm just here for one. And they were on completely different pages. And he had so much resentment, so much grief. And she also was like, he doesn't hear me. Like, what is happening? And that appointment, this is a long time ago, and I can't even believe that I used to have the time for this. But 7 hours in my office, we did not leave the office for 7 hours because I was like, well, you guys need to figure this out because if you don't get on the same page, there's nothing I'm gonna do that's gonna fix this. They eventually like came to, okay, let's just start with one and we'll see what happens. And she didn't know it at the time, but several months later, I was working with her on the mental emotional side. What I found was her body was literally holding on to a memory from a previous lifetime. Uh, like she's Catholic, so she was like, "What? I do not believe in past lives. What are you talking about?" And I was like, "No, it doesn't have to be like an actual life. It can just be like the template that we have throughout women, female history, right? So many women have died in childbirth. So her body had an awareness of a death during childbirth. And it was so physiological. She was laying on my table, like shaking, as we uncovered this. And we released it out of her body, and the shaking stopped. She got up and she was like, "Oh my God, I feel so different." Um, and I was like, "Okay, this is good." A couple of weeks later, they got pregnant. She had that baby. She felt amazing. She was like, "I can't believe that um it was for her like a a real fear of childbirth that she wasn't necessarily like aware of, or when I talked to her about it after, she's like, well, it didn't make sense because I've never been through childbirth. Like, I don't know why I would be that afraid of it. And I was like, okay, it's all good. We released it. That's all that matters. We don't know why you have it. It could be a past life. It could be the energy of a past life. I have no idea. I don't know what the truth is, but your body felt it. Really being able to release things out of our body that are contributing to how how we think about things, or that fear was essentially the block for her to have children because she was like, I'm not sure that I want to ever have a child because I have this fear that I'm going to die. That's a legitimate fear.
That's a very legitimate fear.
Yeah.
And serious, and and it is amazing because in the things that I have read on the energies, like you were saying, that may not even be your past life, it's just the energies of the women before, and what we put out. And I want this conversation to continue, but we have to wrap up. As we do, Dr. Aumatma, what do you want to leave our listeners with, and how may they reach out to you?
I would like to leave people with, if you have been told something by a doctor, a provider, a friend, a family member, does not matter. If it has, if you are having a belief that doesn't resonate with you, that you are like, I don't know, is there something else I could be thinking here? Then go find an answer for whatever that question is. Do not stop at this is just what I've been told or taught. It may or may not be the truth. So go look for an answer and find the one that resonates with you. Like make m- put yourself as the first thought rather than the last, right? Like prioritize yourself and your intuition over everything else. And then find someone that can support you in that intuition. And for people that would like to connect, I'm often active on Instagram at Holistic Fertility Doctor.
All of Dr. Amatma's links are going to be live on wordofmomradio.com, including her Holistic Fertility Institute.com podcast.
Yeah.
So really, and you know what? If you take anything from this, the 28-day cycle, that is just wow in a nutshell. Imagine being taught that as you start to menstruate when you're a teenager. Here's how a woman's body works. What a gem. I seriously, and I so appreciate having known people who have dealt with this throughout their lives, that you are naturopathically looking at the emotional, psychological, and everything else in this journey. So for the women that you are helping and those who haven't even met you yet, thank you so much for the work that you are doing, Dr. Aumatma. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Dori. This has been awesome.
It has been my pleasure. And for all of you tuning in, thanks so much for being here. We're going to close out with our fabulous theme song from Smith Sisters and the Sunday Drivers. So till next time, this is Dori DeCarlo saying go out and create a marvelous you. Bye for now.
She is sure. She is sure. She is strong. She is strong. She is true. She is true. She is brave. She is brave. She is bold. She is bold. She is you. She is you. She is you. She is you. She is sure. She is sure. She is strong. She is strong. She is true. She is true. She is brave. She is brave. She is bold. She is bold. She is you. She is you. She is you. She is you. Sure of herself, yeah, she takes care of biz. Powerful and strong, yeah, she knows who she is. Has integrity, woman strong and true. You know her by name, see this woman is you. She is sure, she is sure. She is strong, she is strong. She is true, she is true. She is brave, she is brave. She is bold, she is bold. She is you, she is you. She is you, she is you. She is sure, she is sure. She is strong, she is strong. She is true, she is true. She is brave, she is brave. She is bold, she is bold. She is you, she is you. She is you, she is you. Adds value and hope, has proved to be brave. See, it's never too late, never time to behave. Reaching for dreams, doesn't matter the age. Believes in herself, unleashed from her cage. She is sure, she is sure. She is strong, she is strong. She is true, she is true. She is brave, she is brave. She is bold, she is bold. She